Around the world, reports of shark-on-shark attacks are on the rise.
Whoa, whoa.
Look at the shark trying to eat that shark!
Oh, there's another one! Oh my God!
Now, off South Africa's Western Cape, a new hotspot may have emerged.
Drone is in the sky. Shark looks like it's about 15 meters to your port.
There's 4 great white sharks around this boat. This is a shark fest.
A bay where white sharks are suspected of hunting other sharks.
We are positive that white sharks are professional shark hunters.
Can a team of scientists find hard proof that these sharks are turning on their own kind?
Yes! Mwah! This could hold very important information.
As the hunter becomes the hunted, the very future of South Africa's white sharks is at stake. Mossel Bay, South Africa. Home to the legendary white shark. The largest predatory fish on Earth. They can grow to over 18 feet. Scientists Dr. Enrico Gennari
Low speed, eh?
and Lacey Williams
It's right coming down to you.
have been studying South Africa's white sharks for over a decade.
At any one time, we believe there are between 40 and 60 great white sharks here in Mossel Bay patrolling.
In the last 10 years, white shark numbers have dropped across South Africa. Now, Mossel Bay is one of the last places you can still see them up close.
And what draws them here is food.
For years, it was thought that what brings the white sharks to Mossel Bay is this 650-foot-long rock.
All the big bulls are standing with their pointy nose up.
It's home to over 4,000 Cape Fur seals. Ambush hunters. White sharks like to surprise their prey. Hanging in the deep waters around the island, their gray backs blend into the background, making them difficult to spot from above. Seals, silhouetted at the surface, stand out in stark contrast. They hit at speeds of 20 miles per hour. These aerial assaults have made the white sharks of Mossel Bay famous across the world. But all is not as it seems.
We thought that it was the seals that brought the sharks here to Mossel Bay. But the map doesn't quite add up.
Adult white sharks need to eat the equivalent of 1 seal every 3 days. That would amount to 1,500 seal kills every season in Mossel Bay. But only around 150 end up as shark food.
So what else is going on? We think that there's something far more interesting and exciting going on beneath the surface.
Are those sharks focusing their diet on those seals, or are they eating something else?
To find out, Lacey looks for clues from the air.
In the right conditions, when the sun is lower in the sky and there isn't flare on the surface of the water, we can use drones to see what's going on beneath the surface.
Recently, in nearby Plettenberg Bay, Lacey recorded an unexpected glimpse of what the white sharks are up against.
Seals are pretty tricky to hunt. They're not as easy as you think. They're agile, they've got claws on their flippers, they've got a bite akin to a dog, so they can be dangerous.
Her rare footage shows seals mob and then chase off a 9-foot white shark. It's the first time a research team have recorded seals fighting back in this way. If Mossel Bay's white sharks are facing a similar challenge, what are they eating?
Our hunch is they actually might be spending more time hunting other sharks than seals.
Captured on camera, reports of shark-on-shark attacks are on the rise.
Drake, get over here! Hurry up! Whoa, whoa, whoa. Can't believe he got sharked.
New camera tech makes it possible
Sharks getting sharked.
for amateurs across the world
Having a tough day, this guy.
to record these rarely seen predation events.
Yeah, another shark. Oh, look at the shark trying to eat that shark.
Oh my God! Oh!
Did you get that on video?
Oh my God. Oh.
Oh, there's another one! Oh my God!
Have Mossel Bay's white sharks also developed a taste for their own? High above the bay, the team set up a research base where they'll analyze their data to look for proof of shark-on-shark attacks.
This is Seal Island, and you can see this is a hot spot for white shark, especially in winter, where the young of the year seals venture for the first time into the ocean.
Over the last 10 years, Enrico has tagged more than 30 white sharks with tiny acoustic transmitters. Every time one passes within half a mile of a listening station, it records the date and time of each individual. It reveals a seasonal pattern to their behavior that could provide a starting point for the investigation.
It's fascinating to see all of those shark tracks so densely concentrated around one hotspot.
They're really focused, they're there for a reason, and it is to hunt seals.
In winter, the young seals leave the island for the first time, without any knowledge or experience of how to avoid predators. Many fall victim to the waiting white sharks. But in summer, everything changes.
The seal are breeding and therefore not entering as much the water, and therefore the white shark shift their attention to those three reefs, here, here, and here. And those reefs are just outside the main three river mouths.
With no seals around these river mouths, what's attracting the white sharks?
It's really fascinating to see them go from one area in the bay to spread out to 3 different areas throughout the bay.
Shallow estuaries are often nursery grounds for young sharks and places where smaller coastal sharks hunt.
This looks like it could be our first big clue at these river mouths, right?
And that is exactly where our stakeout should begin.
I agree.
But before their stakeout can even start, news comes in that could close down Enrico and Lacey's investigation. 240 miles from Mossel Bay, there are sightings of another deadly predator. Orca. At over 22 feet, they dwarf most white sharks. Armed with 3-inch long teeth, These highly intelligent mammals hunt in packs. They're one of the only predators that are a threat to white sharks. In the last 8 years, orca have been responsible for a spate of gruesome attacks on South Africa's large sharks.
I'm really worried because white sharks already face a lot of different threats caused by us.
For Enrico and Lacey, the pressure is on. If the orca arrive in the bay, the sharks will flee. In Mossel Bay, the clock is ticking. With orcas sighted down the coast, the stakeout begins. Shark scientist Lacey Williams takes up position next to the Klein Brack River. Out on the water, Enrico Gennari preps camera traps to find out what the white sharks eat when seal is off the menu.
We call it BRAV, a baited remote underwater video camera. And it's our eyes under the water without us disturbing the animals. The bait attracts all the prey that are in this area. Okay? Bye-bye. Justin, let's go to the next spot, please.
Enrico deploys BRUVs at the 3 river mouths identified as white shark hotspots.
By dropping all these BRAVs on those river mouths, we really hope to see and understand what makes them so important for great white shark. Lacey, the BRAV is deployed.
With the BRUVs recorded, the team turned their attention to the white sharks. Their plan? To attach a camera that will record their every move.
How's it, Enrico? Drone is in the sky, and it looks like you've got one about 80 meters to your port, slowly heading your way.
With eyes in the sky, Lacey guides Enrico to another white shark hotspot just off the Great Brack River.
I think the shark's swimming over the reef, so it also looks like it's in a good spot.
Okay, that sounds perfect, thank you.
This little baby is something I'm really proud of. It's something I designed. It's a fin cam. It's a camera that is positioned and attached to the dorsal fin of the shark to give us a perfect POV of the shark. Hopefully, for the first time ever, we might be able to see a great white eating another shark, something that has never been seen before.
Shark looks like it's about 15 meters to your port, slowly heading your way.
Now it's up to Enrico to entice a shark to within striking range.
Right there. It's about 2 meters. Look how beautiful it is.
Coaxing a white shark into a trap is not easy.
It's a camera shy shark. It's a different one.
But as sharks start to surround the boat,
There's a third one, 4.
Enrico's chances increase.
There's 4 great white sharks around this boat. This is a shark fest. Yes! Yes! Hey, come on! Well done. Well done. Yes! Go, baby, go! Show us some secrets. Yes. Wow.
Back at base, the footage has been retrieved from the baited camera traps. Joining Lacey to review it is research leader Dr. Neil Hammerschlag,
How's it, Neil?
Hey, Lace.
Welcome.
an international shark specialist. He's flown in from Florida
Let's start scrubbing the footage.
to work on the data analysis.
That'd be neat.
The video reveals the river mouth, a summer white shark hotspot, teems with life.
Look at this, okay? We have a pajama cat shark at the bait of the scrub, okay?
So cute.
Swimming around, doing its thing. Okay, now wait for it. Well, white shark comes in, okay? Takes a bite at the brub. Cat shark immediately freezes, okay?
Neil and Lacey spot their first clue. The cat shark appears to play dead.
And what's like super cool is it's not even breathing, it's holding its breath. And by doing that, it's not pumping water over its gills, which would otherwise be generating a weak electrical field that the great white could pick up.
It's an indication of what might be going on between the bay's white sharks and their smaller relatives.
That's crazy cool. And that's a clear prey response to the presence of a predator.
I've never seen footage of this kind ever before, and it's really a breakthrough point for our study. When you actually look at the behavior of the sharks that we're seeing on the videos, they act like they're scared of white sharks. And you know what runs from white sharks? White shark food.
The next day brings alarming news.
Definitely orcas. Oh, there might be one further out. There might be one further out that way.
With her phone, Lacey spots orca at the southern edge of Mossel Bay.
Nope, nope, there's more, there's more.
It's a potential disaster for the investigation. If the orca hit the bay, the white sharks will vanish. Or worse, be attacked.
Time is running out to get all this data, all this footage, and we really need to obtain the last pieces of this puzzle that we're trying to solve.
With no time to lose, Enrico sets out early to hunt for the fin cam.
Okay, not too far, eh? It's right here.
It's been over 12 hours since it was attached to the back of one of the bay's white sharks.
Right there. But keep it short, the anchor.
Luckily, they've had a lead. The shark has been spotted in the bay.
Now we have the shark only 20 meters away. Loud noises usually scares animal away, but with sharks, they're very inquisitive and they come and investigate what it is. Come on, come.
The fin cam should have automatically released, but the mechanism failed. Enrico will need to remove it from this 9-foot predator himself.
It's coming right here. Come on. It's all or nothing. Come on, baby.
After 20 minutes,
Shark here.
it's close enough for Enrico to attempt the rescue operation.
Yeah! Yes! Yes! Ah!
Enrico is finally reunited with the camera. and its priceless footage.
This is one of these moments that you remember forever. Oh, it's like the Oscar when you say, I want to thank my mama, my wife, my daughter. This could be a small step for humankind, but a giant breach for the great white shark. I can't wait now to go back and download it. Hey, it says, if you find it, you get a reward. Can I get a reward?
Back on shore, the team review the hard-won fin cam footage. Will it prove the white sharks are hunting their own kind?
Oh, Enrico, check this out. It looks like our white shark is swimming really close to the seabed. It could be anywhere in the water column, and it's swimming along the seafloor. That's wild.
It's exactly where the small inshore sharks might be found.
It's definitely between reefs and sand, but really circling in that area.
Oh, that's interesting. The way it's moving back and forth, it kind of looks like it's searching for something.
And remember, they don't do things by chance. If it's there, spending a lot of time there at the bottom, there is a reason.
Although the camera was a success, it did not capture footage of an attack. It's now the peak of the summer breeding season on Seal Island. There are fewer young seals in the water to prey on, so the white sharks must find something else to eat. Over the past 6 weeks, the team have recorded over 60 hours of bruv footage at the 3 river mouths.
Oh! That looks like a smooth hound.
It's definitely a smooth-hound shark. Really, this shows us all those small shark species that are there, potential quick snack for a white shark.
I mean, they're all bite-sized. That's for sure.
And all these, again, smooth hounds coming back in, photobombing.
Oh, and there's a little PJ.
Those reefs close to the river mouth are packed with more sharks.
I think we're starting to see a pattern here.
Definitely.
By far the most common shark showing up is the smooth hound. Growing to almost 6 feet, they are bottom dwellers that feed on prey like crab and squid.
Our evidence is starting to mount up. The fin camera and tracking data shows that our great whites are hanging out in areas just outside river mouths in Mossel Bay. Our bruv data is showing that these same areas are teeming with life, including smaller shark species and our smoothhound sharks. So when we couple all this data together, this suggests that our smoothhounds and our great whites are somehow associated with each other.
Have the team discovered what the white sharks feed on at the river mouths? If it is smoothhounds, it's a concern. They're being heavily fished all along this coast.
This is really important for us to determine because the smoothhound is an endangered species and it is highly targeted by commercial fishing.
With the orca threat still present, to protect the white sharks from these fishing pressures, the team must identify their prey. To do so, Enrico turns to someone from Mossel Bay's bloody past.
Hey, Brian!
Hello, Enrico. Nice to see you.
Brian McFarland is a shark fisherman turned conservationist.
When people used to catch the great whites, this coast was the place to catch them.
Like many others in the 70s and 80s, he hunted great white sharks for sport.
There are people in the world that want to prove their macho-ness and catch the biggest, most fearsome animal in the sea, and that being the great white. So that was their incentive.
I must emphasize, I'm not proud of what I'm telling you, but if I go back 40 years, when I went out to catch a shark,
I would see 20 to 30 to 40 great whites a day. Even before we even put bait in the water, we wouldn't believe it. They were always there. But, the big but, when the Jaws movie came out, that was the turning point. Everyone hated or wanted to kill a great white, and I unfortunately was one of them. You brought it back, hundreds of people would come onto the jetty, you'd hang the shark up, and you'd be a hero, big photographs and things like that.
Today, white shark fishing is outlawed. But the population never recovered.
When I think about all these poor sharks that I killed, I really, really, really have terrible regrets. We didn't think of the future of these animals.
But Brian's knowledge can now help this vulnerable species.
So, in order to attract and catch white shark, how did you used to do it?
We cut open their stomach. They were full of smaller sharks, different species, rays and smaller sharks. There was virtually no seals in their stomach. And that's when we realized that the great white is primary food is a smaller shark. They were the best bait.
If you had to choose one species of shark to catch a white shark, what would it be?
There's not even a question. The smoothhound shark was the great white's favorite food.
With a solid lead, Enrico turns his attention to the smoothhound sharks and some new tech.
Now it's time to really step things up. We are positive. We can prove that white shark are professional shark hunters.
Working with research assistant Sofu Kuoma, the team planned to fit 20 smoothhounds with a special predator tag.
So far we have been following the predator, the great white sharks, but if we really want to crack the mystery, we need to better understand its prey.
Give me the tag number.
Tag number is 6207.
The tags will track the smoothhounds,
6207. So we just need that shark now.
Awesome.
but they have another exceptional function. If a smoothhound gets eaten, the predator's stomach acids will trigger the tag to emit a new signal, alerting Enrico to the kill.
Then, by looking at the dead afterwards, we can also look at who could have eaten that shark. This little tag could be instrumental to tell us if and when the great white sharks launch their cannibal attacks. Everyone in position, Sopu?
At this time of year, the smoothhounds come together at the river mouths in large numbers to mate. An easy target for predators, like the bay's white sharks.
The size of the smoothhound that we're trying to catch is between 1 meter and 1.5 meters. This is the perfect fast food for a great white shark. Okay, shark is on. He's fighting Justin. Smoothhound. Woo! Okay, put the tag in the solution. Okay.
The first shark they've caught is a 5-foot smoothhound.
Okay.
Placed upside down, the shark enters a trance-like state known as tonic immobility.
Okay. Scalpel, please. Little incision on the abdominal cavity.
The team works fast to place the tag into the shark's body cavity.
Okay. The suture allows us to keep the tag in, but most importantly, to get the shark wound healed, and the shark will be free to become a researcher in action. End of surgery. Thank you. Now it's just time to release it, let her do her sharky stuff, and hopefully being eaten by a great white shark. Okay, go. Lady. Yeah, she wanted to go. Woohoo!
Over the next 2 weeks, Enrico and his team tag more of the bay's smoothhound sharks.
Shark on!
Each one increases their chances of recording evidence
6211.
of a shark-on-shark predation.
Okay, definitely good. Next one. Tonic. Okay. Good. Bye-bye. Nice. She's... Yes, nice. That is for a monster great white shark dinner.
But then, their worst fears are realized. The orca arrive in Mossel Bay. And the great white killings begin. The last thing Lacey and Enrico's investigation needs is a pod of 5 orca. For the first time in South Africa, the detail of their highly coordinated attack is captured on camera. First, the pod singles out a white shark and chases it for more than an hour. Then one orca delivers a fatal bite.
So yesterday, we found a white shark carcass that had washed up just right here in this section on the beach.
The 10-foot teenager is one of 2 sharks, thought to have been killed.
When orcas hunt white sharks, they can grab them by the pectoral fins and actually rip them apart.
With surgical precision, they target the shark's fat-rich liver, ripping it clean out.
It leaves this gaping cavity.
It's the first recorded death of a white shark by an orca in Mossel Bay.
It's a day that will live with me for the rest of my life, to see a beautiful animal torn apart in a way that only nature can do, is kind of renders you speechless.
Obviously, in my mind, there was that dark feeling that a white shark was killed by an orca. I still remember the goosebumps, the knowing that something even worse was going to follow, the disappearance of all the other white sharks. And that happened in the last week. We haven't seen any white shark here in Mossel Bay.
With less than 1,000 white sharks remaining, every individual is precious. The death of 2 takes South Africa's population one step closer to collapse. Seven weeks after the deadly orca attack, some good news.
Enrico, we got 2 sharks. We got 2 sharks.
Yes! There's a white shark right there.
Woo! Beautiful shark.
White sharks are spotted in the bay.
We got 2 beautiful sharks around us.
This is the second great white shark we just had in about 10 minutes.
And with the orca gone, they're back in abundance.
Shark after shark after shark.
With a window of opportunity, the team prepares to gather one final piece of evidence. Tissue samples from the bay's white sharks.
Now is definitely game on. We need to figure out what these sharks are really eating.
When sharks eat, the fatty acids in their food leave a unique chemical signature on their muscle tissue. With careful analysis, it can be read like a food diary.
We are what we eat, and the tissue samples provides us with a map. It's like looking back in what that shark has been eating for the last 6 months.
To get consistency,
All right, it's coming towards you, Enrico. You're getting within 5 meters to see it. Coming from your right.
the sample must be taken from muscle tissue just behind the dorsal fin.
Yeah, but he's moving away again. Come back.
Nicely done.
Let's get some tissue out here. I'm really looking forward to see what story that this sample can tell us.
The samples will be sent to Neil's lab for analysis.
I need to put it in the freezer quickly. There we go. Cool. Let's get another one.
You got eyes?
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, got it.
It's been 6 months since shark scientists Enrico Gennari and Lacey Williams started gathering evidence in a bid to discover whether Mossel Bay's white sharks are killing their own kind. It's now time for Enrico to collect the predator tag data. Once uploaded, it will reveal if any of the bay's smooth hounds have been eaten.
Being able to prove with our data that smoothhound sharks are eaten by great white sharks is a key piece of evidence in our investigation.
Receivers dotted across the bay track the smooth hound's movements.
And we see that they stayed within the bay. But watch now, one by one, their color is changing. That means they have been eaten, their signal is changing, and they are in the stomach of something much bigger. 70% of our tag sharks have been eaten close to the river mouth. Unbelievable.
And there's one prime suspect.
To prey on a 4.5-foot shark, you need to be quite big. And this is white shark country. So, white sharks are the main culprit here.
Enrico's hunch is still to be confirmed. But the data takes them a step closer to proving that Mossel Bay's white sharks hunt their own kind.
This is very important information, but at the same time is also so concerning because those small sharks are so heavily overfished, and therefore not managing the small sharks means we're not managing the great white sharks. Okay, let's anchor up.
The team had set out to prove that instead of seals, Mossel Bay's white sharks hunt and kill smaller sharks.
Oh, yeah.
Now, research leader Neil Hammerschlag is back with what they hope is the decisive evidence the results of the white shark tissue samples.
Lacey, Enrico.
How's Neil?
Ah,
Likewise.
Welcome.
buddy. All right, cool. Well, I've got hopefully some good news to show you. All
Show
right.
me what you got.
When sharks eat, fatty acid markers in their food leave a unique chemical imprint on their muscle tissue. By analyzing the relative levels of each marker, a meaningful pattern emerges.
These are the results from the first samples of muscle tissue analysis from any Mossel Bay sharks. What we're seeing is their muscle is dominated by fatty acids, which you would find associated with other sharks.
This is great.
Yeah, this is crazy. What you're looking at here is the first evidence that these sharks in Mossel Bay are, the majority of their diet is other sharks.
But that's not all the data reveals. Two markers associated with bottom dwelling and estuarine prey are showing up, exactly as you'd expect if the white sharks were feeding on sharks from Mossel Bay's river mouths.
This is proof.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if we take this one step further and compare what we found here with other locations.
When compared to other white shark hotspots, like Australia, it reveals that Mossel Bay's white sharks have less than half the level of fatty acid markers associated with seals.
What I really didn't have an idea is what it would show is just like kind of the magnitude that, in fact, the shark's whole chemical composition of their actual tissue suggests that what they're actually integrating in the tissues is based on a diet that's predominantly other sharks. I mean, that's amazing.
This blows a hole in the long-standing theory that Mossel Bay's white sharks are aerial hunters who predominantly eat seals. The findings are vital for the long-term survival of these sharks. Due to heavy fishing, their reliance on smaller sharks could come at a deadly cost.
We can't do anything about the orcas, but we can do something to protect the important species like the smoothhound shark as prey for the predator, like the great white shark. So if you are what you eat, this is the first evidence that the Mossel Bay white shark could really be shark hunters.
Absolutely, without a doubt. I literally almost fell over when I saw that the results indicate that it's a huge amount relying on other sharks and fish at a scale I had no idea, especially from a shark in any area where there's a seal colony.
We didn't get the kill on camera, but that was going to be our cherry on top. Because in looking for that shot, we learned a lot more.
After all the evidence we collected, the fisherman tails, the browse, the fin cams, the tissue sampling, we can definitely say that out there is a shark eats shark world.